generations, good evening and welcome to the Rundown on Leadership, where clarity meets calling and every conversation carries the weight of transformation. I am your host, Amadisha Thompson, and I am so grateful that you are here with us tonight for yet another transformational and thought-provoking episode. Family, before we go any further, I just want to take a moment to say thank you. Truly, you could be anywhere on a Thursday night, but week after week, you choose to be here with us. You choose to grow. You choose to lean in. You choose to lead. You choose you. And that's not something we take lightly. Your presence, your messages, your love, it reminds us why this platform exists in the first place. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for running it down with us every week. We feel you, we see you, and we're honored to lead this journey with you. We also want to hear from you. What topics do you want us to tackle next? What conversations do you feel are missing from the leadership landscape? Is there a leader you'd like us to interview on the show? We invite you to scan the QR code on your screen and let us know. Your feedback fuels us and your energy inspires us. As always, we want you to share the wealth. If you're watching us online right now, let us know where you're from. Let us know where you're tuning in from, where you're watching us from. We want you to share this broadcast with the leaders or aspiring leaders in your life. And if you're tuned in live via the ZNS network, don't get better alone, y'all. Tell everyone you know to fall in, because we are about to run it down. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to explore the human side of leadership. We're going beyond the titles to explore the heart behind the headlines and the big moves. Think back for a moment on all the people you've been led by. Which ones stood out the most? Which ones did you model your leadership pattern after? Who was the leader that showed you that there was power in leading with humanity and using life's experiences to shape your future? It was probably the leader who didn't focus on how many degrees he or she had, or how long they'd been in a role, or how many letters followed their name. It was probably the leader who understood that people matter. Where you're from, who you are, what you believe in, and stand for all matter. These are the leaders who get it, who understand that boardrooms and targets don't define legacy, but leading with heart and humanity does. Here's the rundown, folks. So many leaders try to forget where they've come from and consider learning from their past, living in the past. It couldn't be further from the truth, though. Leadership is multidimensional and multifaceted. Leadership is weight. It's the weight of the responsibility when others check out. It's carrying people's hopes when they've forgotten how to hope. It's hearing the heartbeat of your team while the world is chasing headlines and deadlines. Real leadership is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the clearest. And in a world obsessed with power, we need more leaders obsessed with people. Leaders who understand that innovation must include humanity. That vision means nothing if you lose the village. Tonight, we sit down with a man who embodies that truth, a Bahamian son, a corporate trailblazer, a global thinker with a local heart. Samir Bhatti isn't just the CEO of BTC. He's the kind of leader who reminds us that homegrown excellence isn't a trend, it is the foundation. He's leading one of our nation's most recognized brands through change, innovation, and a culture shift, without forgetting the people who make it all possible. So lean in. As always, take notes and get ready to run it down, because this is not fluff. This is fuel. We're not here to entertain, we are here to equip. This is the Rundown on Leadership, ladies and gentlemen, where we break the curse of mediocrity and help you to create legacy. Stay close, everyone. Your leadership legacy begins after this break.
Summer in the Bahamas. The weather is hot, but not as hot as the ZNS summer packages. Get ads on ZNS TV or ZNS Radio Network or the TV community page, or a combination of all three. ZNS has got you covered with great prices, whatever package you choose. Book before June 7th and get the local Federation Championship Baseball bonus full of all kinds of extras free of charge. Contact your account executive or call ZNS Sales at 502-3800 today. Hot summer package rates valid until July 31st.
Mailboat service is a critical service to the islands of the Bahamas. Certainly, Andrews has always been there and dear to us. That's where we're born and raised. And so we play a crucial role in advancing the growth and development of Andrews. Customers want service and they want consistency. From the start, that's been our commitment. We work to sail on time every time. Our customers have come now to expect this from us. And one of the biggest challenges we've had was finding adequate funding. SPDC from the very start has been a lifesaver. My advice to young people, if you have a vision, a passion, an idea, go for it. Don't give up. It's not easy. If it was, everybody would be doing it. Be consistent and you'll get there.
Tired of looking at the same old kitchen? Step 1. Our talented recommended designer Mark crafts a custom design just for you. Step 2. Once your design is ready, CBS Bahamas makes ordering effortless. Your dream kitchen is within reach. Step 3. Our recommended installers bring your vision to life, ensuring every detail is perfectly in place. Sit back and relax as your dream space becomes a reality. Visit cbsbahamas.com and start bringing your home improvement dreams to life today.
Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to the show, Samir. It is an honor to have you here with us tonight. Samir, I want to dive right into this. Let's start from the very beginning. Who is Samir Bhatti?
Ahmad, thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Congratulations on a wonderful show.
Thank you so much.
A bit about myself. I'm Samir Bhatti. I'm product of 2 teachers and born here in Nassau, Bahamas, grew up here, one of 5 kids.
Wow.
And you know, from my earliest days, I recall being Gambier Nursery, went to Xavier's Lower School, went to St. Anne's for Forms 1 and 2, finished up at QC. So I'd say, you know, one thing that stood out for me growing up, my dad got me a Commodore 64
wow.
when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
And so, you know, this is before programming was a thing. And I sort of self-taught myself and got into it. Bit of a nerd. On an island,
yeah,
if you understand what I mean.
Get it.
Not a lot of friends doing it. And then later I got an Apple IIe. And I remember at the age of 11, I'm writing a flight simulator program. Very basic flight simulator. In the language BASIC. And so it was a thing for me, and it taught me a lot. And I thought to myself, at an age when a lot of my friends were gaming, and that was taking off, you know, perhaps I can create a game and make money out of this.
Wow.
So that's when, you know, business started to kick in for me. At the same time, my dad had a number of shops downtown Bay Street, so I learned customer service. I learned the importance of treating the customer right and delivering on that experience. Finished up at QC, and then I matriculated to COB, now University of Bahamas.
Yes.
And after that, I moved on to the United States for school.
Samir, you talked about a little bit about that customer service background. We're going to tie that back into your leadership journey in a minute. But what do you believe leaders are missing from the lens of customer service? Why aren't leaders right now offering better leadership service to their teams?
Yeah, I think leadership, when you think about the customer, you must be customer first. And what do I mean by that? Yes, putting the customer at the center of every conversation, of every decision, necessarily thinking about that experience, but also defining what great looks like. Setting that vision for a great customer first experience and working backwards from there. I think leaders would do well to paint that vision, share that vision, and drive clarity around that vision. And with that clarity, you know, we'll drive a whole renewed purpose. And it's amazing what a team can do once there's clarity on where you're going.
Wow.
Then is speed, right? And clarity can break away any of the dysfunction that might exist. So I think we do well as leaders to be really clear about what does an excellent customer experience look like, and work backwards.
I always tell my clients, Samir, that clarity, you can expect commitment once there's clarity. Where there's a lack of clarity, you can expect chaos. when people don't know what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to get there, they will definitely start to do whatever they feel is best to keep themselves afloat or to stay out of trouble. And we're going to come back to that conversation a bit later on as we connect. But Samir, you've led in major markets around the world. What ultimately called you back home to the Bahamas, and why was that important for you to come back home and now give back to your country?
Yes, I had a great career going in the United States in telecom industry. When the call came, I debated it, and my wife Tricia, she is my counsel on every matter, and she and I together partnered in Eleuthera at One Eleuthera Foundation and helping get that moving. And when the call came for BTC, I wasn't interested.
Yeah.
And she said to me, only the way she can, what else do you have to prove? Right?
Wow.
You've done this time in Eleuthera outside of your industry in agriculture. That's going well. Don't you think it's time for you to do something in your industry back home?
Yes.
And so as I reflected on that, she's so right, by the way, as I reflected on that, I thought about the brand of BTC. What a proud brand,
yes.
right, in this country. And I was familiar with the journey of other telcos in the United States and around the world, and I could see where BTC was on that journey. If I could help co-create a shared vision with clarity,
yes,
and inspire the team to get there, I felt like I had something to offer. And at the end of the day, it's that purpose that drives me.
Yeah. When you think of your upbringing here in the Bahamas, you've matriculated through school, you were raised in this nation with certain values and certain principles. How have they stood out to you all this long time, and how have they shaped the way you lead today?
Yeah. Humility. So I'll give you an example. There's a wonderful teacher at GHS, lived in my neighborhood. His name's Alan Pinto. And I remember Alan Pinto in his car, he had a Mazda 929, and he'd ride around the neighborhood and pick up the kids and say, hey, let's go play soccer.
Wow.
Let's go play soccer. But he'd also drive in some of the, the lower income neighborhoods and ask the same question. So we'd all jump in his car, and we go into a soccer pitch, and all of us learned to play with each other, all different income levels. Many of us weren't friends before.
Yeah.
And many of us would just play to get at the end of the match, and Mr. Pinto would give us all a juice box, little drink. And I just remember being with so many kids who had very little resources, right? And I thought about, I often reflect on Mr. Pinto and what drove him as a teacher out of his own pocket to pull this off. So humility is the first thing. I think the second one driver for me is resilience. You grow up in this country.
Yes.
There's a certain amount of resilience you have.
It's a requirement.
And if you embrace it and you channel it the right way. Now, what's interesting is you get resilience in different places. For me, I wasn't a great athlete, honestly. Good on the computers. But there was one sport I got into, which is skateboarding. And if you know any skateboarder who's been passionate about it, it's the closest thing to MMA you're gonna find. It's a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And you bounce back each time, and you often, there's fear in front of you, and you have to overcome that fear. But that resilience to bounce back, I use that as a metaphor in so much of what I do in business. So I think humility and resilience, those are the two things.
So, man, those two, in my mind, are complete opposites. Most leaders who found themselves, or who believe that they are leaders, often find themselves on the opposite side of humility. They must be big and bad. They have to be the one in charge, the strongest voice. How have you been able to successfully kind of marry being humble in leadership, but also being able to bounce back and push through when things get difficult? How have you been able to do that?
I don't know if I have a choice, right? I do think, oftentimes people perceive leaders as the ones who are the most vocal, most boisterous, perhaps the extrovert. I'm a big introvert, right? I truly am. But the reason I say I don't have a choice is that at the end of the day, a leader has to inspire people. A leader needs to move with a certain level of optimism.
Yes.
even if it's in some dark corners, even when that leader has doubt.
Yes.
I have doubt.
Yes.
If you want people to follow you, you have to move with a certain optimism. And so what I use, when I use resilience and I use humility, I use them as tools to engage the team, to find the first follower, the second follower.
Yes, yes.
I have to be able to flex and call upon those as resources at any point in time. And I think that's really the answer. I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
We don't have a choice as leaders, right? I didn't step into this career thinking I wanted to be CEO, by the way.
Yeah.
That wasn't.
Wow.
That was not my interest. That was not where my arrow was necessarily pointed.
Yes.
In my career, I wanted to have impact. But through humility and resilience, I guess I started to stand out.
Yeah.
And then people started to follow. And I got bigger and bigger tasks. And I found a way to get stuff done.
Wow.
Not because of me one, but because I had a team behind me.
Yeah.
So I think those come to the fore. How do you leverage these?
Yes.
As they're applicable to the situation,
Yeah.
so that you can exude optimism. So people feel like
I could follow this guy.
I could follow this guy,
Yeah.
knowingly or unknowingly.
Yes, yes.
But now I'm in the seat as CEO. I see how important that is. I didn't see it before. I see how important that is.
Wow.
That people look at me in a certain way.
So can you take us back, Samira? Maybe there was a point in your career, maybe early on, a defining moment where you had to make a decision, or a decision was made for you that shaped the way and continues to shape the way you lead. Was there anything that took place in your early years, even recently, that you feel has shaped and continues to shape the way you lead today?
Yeah, there was a moment. I was at Verizon.
Yeah.
And this was Verizon when it was rolling out fiber, mid-2000. And I had responsibility for the new promotion that we were going to run. At this time, we weren't selling fiber services, you know, at a high clip. So we needed something to jumpstart it. At this time, high-definition TVs were all the rage. They had just come on the scene. So the idea was, how about we give a free HD TV to everybody who takes Fios internet?
Wow.
And
This is in America.
it's in the U.S.
Okay.
And okay, this thing tested well in all of our survey tests, and we got going with it. Thought I did a decent job of forecasting.
Yeah.
This thing went so well, we ran out of inventory of TVs.
Wow.
And in fact, there are two main providers globally for glass for TVs, and I was working directly with them. They ran out of glass.
Whoa.
And now I set the wrong expectations with customers. They're waiting 6, 7, 8, 10 weeks to get their TV delivered. Phones getting lit up. I mean, this was an egg on the face moment.
Yeah.
As you know, as exciting as this promotion was, it was the most fantastic failure that I've ever had in my business. I mean, this was really challenging. So what have I done since? So to get out of that situation, I set the right expectations, and many, many apologies to customers later. But ever since then, the value of diverse perspectives, bringing them in early.
Wow.
Not the folks who tell me yes.
Yes, yes.
Listen here, you're the greatest.
Yes.
I don't need that.
Wow.
I need people to look for my blind spots, our blind spots. I need them to help me shape it early.
Yes.
To forecast risks in ways that I'm not the expert at. And if you bring those perspectives in early, you have a much greater chance of success going on. So that has inspired a whole different level of teamwork for me. I tell everybody at my senior leadership team, my job is not to do your job.
Yeah, yeah.
Your job is to have a foot in mine.
Wow, my job is not to do your job. Your job is to have a foot in mine.
Correct.
Samira, that is monumental, because so many leaders today are leading from a place of threat, feeling threatened or threatening. If we try to get my job, I can push you back, I can hold you back, I'm going to stifle you. But you're saying to your team, first of all, I need and value your perspective, bring them to this table as quickly as we can. Let's enjoy the fantasism of failure as quickly as we can in this room before we get to the market. Additionally, which of you are having your eyes on this chair, on my role? that is something we don't see often in leadership, specifically in our nation. We have, we can run out of time in this segment, we shouldn't even get into it, but we have this mindset, Samir, that we must hold on to the job until we die. It must go to the grave with us. We must put on our tombstone that Ahmad Rashad Thompson held so-and-so for 947 years. Versus, hey, I'm doing this job now. You may want it someday. What are you doing to get it eventually? We're going to talk about that in a later segment, Samir, but I want to focus on that line you used, gathering those shared perspectives early. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, it means having a problem you want to solve, bringing in the team, going through the problem in many cases, and asking openly, what do you think? Ahmad, what's your perspective on that? Now, when I ask for your perspective, you might be the head of commercial. And the issue, the challenge we're solving is a communications issue.
Yes.
What it means is that you have a perspective on the broader business, not just your function.
Yes, yes, yes.
It means that your role is to support your function, but to share in the lead of this organization. So I expect everybody at my senior leadership table to have a perspective on the broader business, not just their function.
Wow.
And that means when we unpack issues and we try to get to a decision, we do it holistically with the CEO's perspective in mind. It also means if we come to points where there's tension, there's friction, the decision needs to be made, and there's healthy debate, hopefully there is. When a decision is made, we lock arms and we go with it.
So what I'm hearing, Samir, is that we're not, as the leader, making the decision. We're not controlling the decision. We're not controlling the conversation. We're inviting shared perspectives and making collective decisions as a group.
Yes.
This is just getting started, ladies and gentlemen, and we are only a few minutes in, but right now we are talking about how do you create an environment where there's shared perspective, collective innovation, right? We are going to come back to this conversation. We're going to have this conversation with Samir talking about how do you actually now discover your way through leadership? How do you determine succession? How do you get on the other side of leadership? Your breakthrough continues, ladies and gentlemen, after this break.
Hey, ladies, where's the Dave? Oh, okay, thanks. Bets.
Greg, what's up?
Ready, man, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
You up?
He's meditating. You gotta give him at least an hour.
All right, well, I can wait. I ain't got nothing to do. Been privatized from now on to independence.
Hey, what's up, Mario?
Hey, Dale, what's going on?
Have you seen ZNS new digital platforms?
No. Let me go check it out.
Good day, Bahamas. I'm Devontae Hanna, and this is ZNS Digital,
where we cater to your news and entertainment needs. Are you a foodie? I thought so. Then look out for Digital Bites.
shining a light on Bahamians and the good that they do. ZNS Digital is home to the Sunshine One.
Keeping up with the latest trends, our original content will keep you entertained.
Yeah, that's cool.
But have you seen the new website?
No, I didn't see it. Let me go look.
We're still your most trusted source for news and information.
That's ZNS Digital?
Yeah, that's ZNS Digital, the people station in your pocket.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting TingsyBahamas.com.
back, everyone. If you're just joining us, our guest tonight is Mr. Sameer Bhatti. He is the CEO of BTC. Sameer, I want to go back to what we said just now before we went to break. You mentioned that almost a requirement on your leadership team is that there is diverse perspective, that your team members aren't thinking only about the shops they run. We don't want to have all yes men at these tables. So many leaders do. But your requirement is, listen, tell me where the blind spots are, show me where I've not thought about, what has this team not considered yet? It ties back to a quote I heard you make recently, Sameer, in your BTC Homegrown series. You said, I dream of a day when a fellow Bahamian can drive innovation in the telecoms industry and not have to leave this country to gain that experience. I'm working every day to make that happen. Why is it important that that type of table you've set with your organization is the table that we sit to? And then why is it important for your organization at large?
Yeah, so you know, first, diversity of perspectives, right? There's a study by Cloverpop. It's come out and it says that diverse teams make better decisions 87% of the time than non-diverse teams. Now, diversity is age diversity, it's gender diversity, and it's geographic diversity. Make better decisions, meaning faster decisions with better outcomes. So there's enough literature on why that matters, and I embrace that fully at my table. As far as my quote, and this is my mindset, allow me to share a bit of the context. I spent a lot of time in the U.S., and so I call on that and I leverage that often. You look at the market capitalization of U.S. stocks, top 10 stocks in market capitalization. Number 1 is Microsoft, NVIDIA, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, Tesla, Broadcom, Berkshire Hathaway, Walmart. You might see Eli Lilly in there. Why do I raise those 10? Those 10 represent 33.6% of the market capitalization total. There are 6,062 stocks traded in the United States. 10 represent 33.6. By the way, 5 of those 10 are led by international immigrants to the United States. 5 of those 10. And by the way, the majority of those 10, including those 5, reside in Silicon Valley. So take a look at Silicon Valley. I've spent some time there working. What's really interesting, they have their pick of the 8 billion people on this planet on who to attract. Many of them matriculate through U.S. schools, as did I, finish up. Many matriculate there. But in Silicon Valley, not just the best IQ talent, but there's a growth mindset that exists, right? Where people try things, they fail through trial and error. So what's interesting about Silicon Valley, now you see the link to market capitalization. Your viewers, as I understand your viewers, if they have any investments in stocks, I guarantee you they have some dollars in Tesla, they have some dollars in NVIDIA, they have some dollars in Microsoft, and they trust their dollars to those stocks, so they believe in diverse and international talent by definition, because they're voting with their dollars. The question is, for many people who go to the United States, it's difficult to make it there long term, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years long term. It's difficult. So is that success model of diverse perspectives, international perspectives, growth mindset, does it work elsewhere? I'd say in Israel it does. If you've had a chance to see Israel or learn about it, here's a country that's gone from an agrarian economy to a full-on tech hub, and very much tied into Silicon Valley. So my worldview is, why not us? It's worked in Israel. If I can do something and be a part of making 1,000 flowers bloom in the Bahamas, perhaps we have a way to create a whole new economic engine. Perhaps I create a way for new personal development, career development for other Bahamians. I think what an exciting thing that would be. So that's my dream. How can I make it possible to make the next iteration of Israel or of Silicon Valley? It doesn't have to be the exact same, but there's some common ingredients around growth mindset, about attracting and retaining talent, bringing in diverse perspectives that we know works.
So, Sameer, that takes me to our next question, because I want to talk about this whole journey around the expatriate employee in our nation and how that's been mismanaged, in my personal opinion and in my professional experience. I've seen organizations across industries, Sameer, bring in an expatriate worker, who is supposed to identify, well, in fact, the organization is supposed to identify a successor to that expert worker, right? A direct successor, not a potential successor. In the next 24 to 36 months, you will have the role of so-and-so as an expert worker. You are developing, sharpening, and preparing so-and-so to succeed this role in the next 36 months. So often, Samir, these expert workers come to our nation unable to just live. Their children are gone to college. They have been in all the schools you referenced in your opening statement, but they have been there for 20, 30 years, and there's still no successor identified. How do you, with this exposure that you've been able to enjoy and amass, now focus on developing the talent within this country to succeed one day, Samir, or other key roles in your organization?
Yeah, so my starting point, I've shared, I'm a big believer in diversity. And I have all the reasons. I can state McKinsey studies as well and show you, that it drives, 33% more likely to drive better profitability to have diverse leadership teams. But I want to start by saying I get it. I know what it feels like to be in an organization where you're passed over because your name sounds funny.
Wow. Wow.
And that's the United States, that's the Bahamas, that's wherever. I've seen members of my family frustrated and go through that. I've seen that sort of gender discrimination. So I get it. I know what it feels like. So I'll talk about the things that I'm not supportive of. I'm not supportive of bring any person from, you name it, Tier 1 market country, UK, US, to take a role in the Bahamas or anywhere and have that for endless weeks, months, years, just because they're from another country.
Sure.
I believe if done thoughtfully, right, you can bring talent in, meld with the local talent, solve bigger problems, but not just fill a skill gap, but drive a cultural change that's needed. So, for example, we at BTC, I'm not here to run a copper landline business. We're not going back to those days, right? We're going forward. We know broadband is the way. So am I looking to just hire a copper expert? Or am I looking to hire a fiber expert? Maybe. But perhaps what I'm really looking for is somebody who can come in for a period of time as a change agent. And I think too often we look at it as, a static role, a director, and we're just going to fill that and then backfill it.
Yes.
In some cases, if you're doing it thoughtfully, you say, you know what, there is a business as usual role that's needed, and there is a change agent role that's needed. I also think that, how you ask the question, it's a question we have a lot of debate on. It comes from the perspective of a fixed mindset. What I'm here to say is, when done right and done thoughtfully, you get to bake a bigger pie, right?
It's probably tastier too.
Exactly. If you bake a bigger pie, everybody benefits. And so to me, I look at it from the perspective of, bake a bigger pie, bring in multiple perspectives, or bring in external talent who are expert, do it thoughtfully, help it upskill the talent around, meld with the organization, shape the culture so that culture has a much longer arc. I don't necessarily look at it as it's always, and perhaps that's where we struggle. It's always about having somebody come in and then finding the next person who's going to backfill, because the reality is that person comes in, depending on the situation, and that person does a great job transforming the place. Why do you need to backfill that role? What if you bring somebody in? Why do you need to keep that division? We have to ask those questions. If you're transforming, then transform. And perhaps you don't need that same skill set longer term in a business as usual sense. So I don't come in and I don't assume it's a one size fits all or it's the same thing you're solving each time. I realize that there are situational needs that vary. And I'm a believer, if done thoughtfully, you bake a bigger pie, all boats rise.
This mindset that all boats rise, shared perspective, collective innovation, us doing this together. Samir, this is foreign language to some people, In our country and around the world, leaders are getting it wrong. And that's why this show was created, because we want to demonstrate to people that you can be a human person, because you're a human being first, right? You can bring others to the table who have perspectives that are not shared by you, who have beliefs that may not be exactly like yours, and you can arrive at a pie that's bigger than you could have ever imagined, versus a table, an army of just yes men. Yes, women. Yes, boss, that's straight. Yes, boss, that's straight. Versus, have you considered? What about? Why haven't we done? And then when we look at this lens of the expat versus the local talent, I think they both have a piece of that pie that they can eat. What we've done wrong, I believe, and this is my professional opinion, because I've witnessed it somewhere, is that we, as the local talent, we're not positioning ourselves to succeed key roles. We have this expectancy. I've been around for 47 million years, the job is supposed to be mine. And when I don't get it, all hell break loose. Then we have on the flip side of that same coin, we can't find the talents locally because we have not developed the talent locally, so we must go outside of our shores and find the talent elsewhere. Both of those things can be true at the same time. Yeah. But I believe, to your point, if we now develop the culture we want to see take shape in an organization. If we say, you know what, we want more diverse thoughts, so we must bring in some diversity outside of our nation, but at the same time, hone in on what's already here. Bring what's outside. This is groundbreaking conversation, Samir. We're going to come right back because, again, we are in time for a break, but we're going to continue this conversation and help you to really understand what this means to be a leader. How do you hold on to what you've done in your life? How do you use these life lessons to go to the next level? Stay close, everyone. We're going to be right back.
I am a master plumber by profession. I've been doing plumbing for over 40 odd years. When I was 9 months old, I was diagnosed with polio. To me, living with polio, I took it the way it is. I never allowed my polio to get in my way of anything. In fact, I love when people doubt me, and I just prove them wrong. And let me tell you, in the world, you could only find a plumber as good as me, but you ain't gonna find no plumber better than me. People with disability, they just need a chance. In this program, I feel so encouraged. Most of the mentors have different kind of disability, but disabilities like me. Sharing and caring and showing so much support with people with disability. They would encourage you to go beyond. I wish this was around a long time ago. Right now, I would have been a millionaire. You out there who have a disability, don't be afraid. Take the step. If you believe it, you could achieve it. And remember one thing, ain't no one better than me, and ain't no one better than y'all. God made all us equal.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
This year, King Door National Parkinson Foundation is taking you back to the old school. With entertainment by TMF, the band formerly known as Maze.
Y'all better come on now.
Also appearing will be local artist Plotty and the Naked Eye.
And the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Pop Band.
Save the date. Saturday, June 28th, 2025. Atlantis Paradise Island.
To purchase your tickets, call telephone 428-2588 or visit Carey's Fabric and Uniform Store, Mackey Street.
The new stuffed crust cheddar flavor has a taste you'll enjoy.
Outside and inside.
With a delicious stuffed crust covered in irresistible cheddar flavor. Come and try the new stuffed crust cheddar flavor only at Little Caesars.
Pizza, pizza.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are truly in a masterclass, and I want you to stay close because we're going to continue our conversation with Samir Bhatti, the CEO of BTC. Samir, when all the titles are stripped away, when things are, all you have left is just you, your thoughts, the drive home, what would you say is one leadership lesson that life had to break you to teach you?
You know, it was, I'd say, early on, when I went from College of the Bahamas, moved to the United States, and I got accepted into University of Maryland. And was excited about that. I went there, and my first day, I met with the counselor there, and the counselor said, "Welcome to University of Maryland. You're accepted here, but we won't take any of your credits."
Whoa.
So I did 2 years, finished off my class at COB. They'll take none of my credits. What's the school? College of the... No, we're not going to take those anyway.
Wow.
So there was a moment, there's no help, there's no lifeline coming.
Yes,
it's me and the counselor. And I felt my entire world kind of flash in front of me. I felt the disrespect. I felt all of that. And I came back with this. I said, yes, I'm going in a field in computer science and statistics. Pretty good with numbers. How about this? If I get a 4.0 on this slate in this upcoming semester, will you take these 15 credit hours?
Wow.
Said, okay, I'll sign up for that. And so that's what I did.
Wow.
And every semester I showed back up and I said, if I get this, will you accept these credits? Yeah. In the end, they didn't take 2 courses, which I had to redo, like Psychology 101, which is fine. But that was a lesson in negotiation, right? Everybody thinks the door is closed, or it's a one-way, or it's a zero-sum game, all of that. But to find a creative path forward was one of the biggest lessons. And, you know, you figure out your resilience.
Yes.
You know, when you're in that corner.
Yes.
Most people would fold up. Many people would say, okay, I guess I got to start over. I wasn't about to start over.
Samir, how did the thought enter your mind? Because that's gangster, Samir. That ain't regular. That ain't regular. You don't tell the administrator, counselor person, listen, man, I can do you a favor, you to do me a favor. What is going through your mind?
Yeah.
And when do you realize I can actually ask the question? Because it's one thing to have the thought, it's another to actually live it out. Yeah. What's going through your mind in that moment?
You know, and I would say to you, the reason why that moment sticks with me is, I don't know if I had the conviction to speak like that in the past, but at that moment it came forward.
Yeah.
And, you know, where does it come from? You know, creativity, you know, breeds on constraint. And I was in a constrained situation.
Yeah.
I also had a certain amount of self-confidence even in those early days. Right? I knew where I came from. I've shared my journey, my life journey with you. And I'm sitting in a wonderful country in the United States. And the realization that, you know, I know how to fight.
Yeah.
Right? I know how to represent. I know, you know, how to represent myself. I know how to fight for myself. And I know my skill set deserves respect.
Wow.
And I think my skill set's good for you.
You will benefit from this.
You're going to benefit from this. And I think in that moment they felt it. Wouldn't it be great to have this guy?
Yes.
And I think also it was a dual degree.
Ah, okay.
And so what was interesting, they were trying to get people to do this, you know, decision and information sciences, management science and statistics, this kind of combination, 2 different schools. They didn't have many takers. And so I raised my hand. I said, yeah, I want to do that. That sounds really challenging. I'm in. I'm pretty good with the computers, and I love the numbers. I can do it. Okay, great. Ready to sign me up?
Sign me, yeah.
And so there's this, you know, to be that poster, to be that poster kid in college I think, was interesting to them. So I do think it does come back to baking a bigger pie, right?
When you think of your journey, Samir, the moments when you tap into that resilience, the moments when you lean on, and the word you used earlier was leverage. You leverage the perspectives in front of you or around that table. Leadership has a way, Samir, of revealing both the best and the blind spots in us and around us. What does leadership reveal to you about you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the thing I won't ever give up.
Yeah.
I hope I never give up. Integrity. Doing what I say I'm going to do.
Yes.
Doing the right thing when the cameras aren't on.
There's no risk for reward.
No.
There's no chance he'll say, good job, Samir.
No.
Wow.
Integrity.
Yes.
And I think, you know, as I reflect on it now at this stage in my career, why that's important in business is integrity then brings forth trust.
Wow.
And the kind of environment that I want is trust. When I have a senior leadership team meeting and we're going through, you know, a challenging discussion or a difficult topic, I want to have that psychological safety. I want the team to trust that they can bring it. It's nothing personal, but they can bring their full selves to that meeting, their perspective, and we may have to hash it out. We may have to argue vigorously.
Yes.
But you only get there if there's a certain level of trust. And so you get to that trust, I believe, the more integrity you have. And I don't want to be in an organization without trust.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't want my team, my SLT, I don't think it's fair to them to operate the way I want us to operate if there's no trust. So integrity is core.
If your words and your actions are not congruent, if you say one thing and do another, it means you lie. That's what it means. So maybe being fancy, being all political, you is lie. If what you said and what you did are different, you is lie. Now, in the way that Samir just painted the picture, if there are opportunities, because there are in business, when you said A but had to resolve to B, there's context there, there's clarity that you can provide, there's information you can give to your team to say, you know what, I said A but I had to end up doing B, versus saying A, doing B, you tell them I say, you is lie. But Samir, as we wrap up our segment, because this went by so quickly, I want to have a bit of fun. We're going to do something we've never done before on the show, and I'm happy you're laughing right now because it's going to be a very laughable couple of moments to next. I'm going to read you a few statements, Samir, and it's a variation on this or that, right? I'm calling it the rapid rundown, okay? I'm going to read you a couple of questions. You're going to have to say, just choose one quickly. You can't think about it. Don't be Samir and CEO. Just go straight to it, right? Valley or Saxons?
Saxons.
Samir, end the show. Cut the show. You're free to go. Spicy or original, Samir?
Say it again.
Spicy or original?
Spicy.
Okay, Johnny Cake or Johnny Bread, Samir?
Johnny Cake.
That's good. Dilly or Dali?
Dilly.
Hey, cup or baggie?
Cup.
Cup? No baggie?
I had them both.
Cup or, you say cup. Bookie or Barabi?
Bookie.
Okay, yellow grits or white grits?
Yellow.
Sheep tongue or pig feet?
Neither.
That's a good answer. Chicken sauce all the way. I don't think it makes no sense. How do you spell bay?
Ooh.
Nah, Samir?
I don't.
Everything you said will rise and fall in this statement. How do you spell bay?
I mean, when I text it, it's just B-E-Y.
That's how you spell? Bay, them other letters, B-U-Y, and I'm kind of funny. This is soil. This is from the soil. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to come right back from this break. We want to take a moment just to reflect on what has been shared. But take a moment, refresh your cup, come back. We're going to end this segment tonight. Stay close.
Got termites and need to get rid of them fast? Trust Rentokil Initial. With over 60 years experience in the Bahamas, the global brand, training, and expertise can't be beat. Only Rentokil Initial gives you a 3-year warranty and payment plan options on termite fumigation. No one can match the range of treatments we offer, such as fumigation, pre-construction treatments, termite monitoring, and more. No matter where you are in the Bahamas, we will come to you. When it comes to complete termite eradication, there's only one name, Rentokil Initial.
Hello, I'm Mario Nuri. It's never too early to prepare for a hurricane, and we want to make sure our community is always ready. So we invite you to join us for another A Familiar Walk, Step Towards Hurricane Preparedness, with special guests, Lisa Pinder, Director General, Dr. Trevor Johnson of the Bahamas Red Cross, Disaster Risk Management Authority representatives, and Charles Johnson of J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents and Brokers. So do join us and stay weather aware.
Planning the execution of a newscast is serious business. From the assignment to the concept of the story, everything has to be precise, on point, always. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report, is your trusted news service. We get it right the first time. Our preparation for you each night is done with care, knowing that our voices will reach you on 700 islands and keys with unquestionable accuracy. It gives me great pleasure each night to say,
welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm your national anchor, Mukesh Lapinder.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final question for our guest, Samir Bhatti, CEO of BTC. Samir, in your opinion, are leaders made or born?
Leaders are made.
Go ahead, talk about that.
We may be born with certain traits. That it could be optimism. It could be decisiveness, certain traits that you see in a leader, and that could seed what we view as leaders for sure. I think we all have some aspects about ourselves that are leaders, but leaders are made. It's a product of the environment, right, and what you've gone through. That you know, I look at my career, I am the result of all the years in industry that I've had. In consulting to private equity and Verizon and Juniper and Comcast and here BTC, sometime in Silicon Valley. I'm a product of my experiences along my classmates. I'm a product of the environment from which the soil that I grew up in and where I live. But those shape and harden the leader. And I do think a leader would do well to be constantly growing in any event. But I believe that the greatest talent is to work. And this is a quote from Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, of Duke basketball men's team. We all have certain talents we're born with, but those individuals who work, that's the greatest talent, is to put in that work. So I have to believe it's made. I have to believe it's a function of how much work you've put in. I have to believe it's a function of the environment you've come through, not just what you're born with.
Wow, this has been such an impactful conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We are so grateful for Samir Bhatti for having joined us tonight. This conversation, again, like all of our conversations here, are masterclasses. We're hopeful that they're helping you to lead better, to do better, to be better versions of yourselves. Samir taught us tonight that shared perspective, diversity in thought, collectivism, collective thinking, leveraging the strengths on your team help to make you a better version of yourself. This has been phenomenal. Samir, we're so grateful that you've joined us this evening. What you just witnessed, again, was a revelation. It was an opportunity for you to be better, to do better, to want better as a leader. When you think about, I need to pause. Sorry, I need to pause. It ain't in the right spot, so I lost.
You can go one more question.
No, you're good, you're good. Okay. It'll just be from my end, I ended up with you. They weren't picking up on me. So right after this, thank you to Mr. B. Already said thank you to him. So it'll be go up right here. Onto our audience.